Hey, John?
I don't.
It's 4:30. I'll call the meeting to order. John, as an alternate, you can vote at this point, since we don't have 5 regular members present.
No, he's a regular now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Once Fred left, wasn't he appointed?
No, Jim LaCava was appointed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jim was an alternate before John,
Okay.
and Ellen felt that she should follow the order of appointment.
No problem. I forgot about that.
It's okay. So we'll start with the 207 Main Street Mohegan Flowers application.
Did you guys want me to present anything to you, or are you just reviewing?
I'm just
what I've already sent?
I'm just glancing at this. I haven't
Okay.
looked in a couple of days. Are these signs going to be in the same location as prior signs?
Correct. They are going to be in exactly the same location using the existing hardware that's there. We're just going to update the actual signage board using PVC material so that it's a little more weather resistant. But it looks exactly like wood, so you won't see the difference.
Anna, this is a Leo Club reunion here. Miley Phillips installing it.
He sure is.
Yeah, that's a nice sign.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Do we have, I don't have it on the application, the sign's height from the sidewalk?
I went over there today to measure and completely forgot to measure. But it's not changing. We're using the exact same dimensions.
It appears that it is lower than the standard required height.
Okay. Would you like us to move it up? Because we're
I'm not sure how much you could move it up though, based on,
that one bar.
because you've got the little overhang roof
Yeah.
there. So
It looks like it could move up comfortably, maybe like 3 or 4 inches.
But is the sign over? Oh, I guess it is where people could walk. It's not over the official sidewalk, right?
correct.
And it's not over the entryway.
Correct.
So does it still need to be? It's 8 feet, right?
Yes, I believe that's what.
Yeah, the bottom of the sign must be 8 feet above.
Right.
Okay. My guess
And like I
is
said, I don't think they can get 8 feet based on the roof structure that's there. And I know we've had some situations where, we had existing brackets in locations where they didn't necessarily meet. And I kind of thought we dealt with that with either some kind of a planter or something below it so that nobody could actually walk underneath it.
Yes, we have done that.
Flower shop. Or a bench.
Apologies for being late. Which are we discussing?
Mohican flowers.
Okay.
We're just discussing the hanging sign appears to be lower than the mandatory 8 feet.
And there's no red
Going
line,
on to the
right?
same brackets and the same size as the existing sign. So We just have to come up with a solution that would preclude pedestrians from being able to walk under the sign.
Sorry, I was a little loud in my office.
Can we get up on the Zoom, the pictures here? So
Sure,
know what we're talking about? It's
no
kind of-
problem. Hold on one second.
I would say because of the stairs up into the shop, there would not be any opportunity to walk under the sign, but I haven't walked up there recently.
I mean, you can walk into this up side if you wanted to, because I walk around there all the time. I mean, it's not over the sidewalk, but if you wanted to see something in the window, I think the best idea would be to put something underneath it.
So here's,
Hannah, would that be, I mean, first, Gene, would that solve the problem?
Yes.
Yes,
To dissuade people from,
Yeah, we can absolutely put a planter or a bench or something under there. That's not a problem at all.
There always used to be.
Yeah, I think there's a bench on the opposite side right now. It could be easy to move.
does anybody have any questions about the application? Or comments, other than the height?
is there any special way we would have to word this, because Hannah and Henry do not at this point own the building? In other words, we approve the sign contingent upon them having the right to put the sign up.
Well, Hannah, can you start doing business before you own the building?
We could, we're not going to.
Okay,
But Carol and Bill would definitely sign off on anything, but we don't want to make any changes like this until we own it. So it
okay,
won't happen until we own it.
all right.
Jane,
yes,
is that FLOWERS on the end of the building an historical sign?
Probably.
That will be removed.
Well, you're not supposed to remove signs, that's all I'm, but.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how historical it is. You could ask Carol.
Okay.
She could tell you.
That's
yeah.
part of it.
It doesn't look like it's that old.
No.
Okay, well,
Right.
Is it from the period of significance? Probably not.
it certainly has a certain, ambiance about it.
Je ne sais quoi. Yeah.
So Henry is 6 feet tall, so that probably helps you determine how tall that sign is.
Okay.
So it's about 6'3" at the bottom of the sign.
And that's why I don't think you can get it. You can't move it up 2
No.
feet, so
No.
it'll never make it to the 8 foot.
Well, on Red Mill Suites, they put a flower planter underneath that sign that's, on Grove Street.
Mhm.
That's just,
Well, and traditionally Mohican Flowers has always had something under there. I don't know if they had a requirement for the same reason to have something underneath the sign. But they always did when they were open.
so,
We're happy to do that.
Are we ready for a motion?
I think so.
I move that we approve the requested sign contingent upon a structure of sorts. I don't know how else to, I mean, we can specify planter, but I don't know that that's, but a planter or other, whatever you call it, I don't know, object preventing people from walking underneath it.
I second that motion.
Yeah. Michael, can you just read back the way you have it?
Give me 1 second, I'm still writing.
Okay.
I'll try to say it again, Michael, without all my pauses.
No, I'm okay. I think I got it. It's a
Are you
motion to
just-
approve the sign as proposed, contingent upon a planter or other object being placed underneath the sign, preventing people from walking underneath it.
Very well done.
I would just change that to hanging sign.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Approve the hanging.
Projecting sign, it's a projecting.
Projecting sign, yeah,
The projecting sign. Okay,
even better.
okay.
All right. All in favor?
I,
I think that was unanimous.
Yes, sorry, I didn't speak up.
Okay,
Thank you all.
you're welcome. Best of luck.
Thanks so much. Have a
good
good
luck, and thank you for keeping flowers in town.
Absolutely.
That's
No,
great.
we're so excited. You'll have to go up and see what we did in the windows today.
Oh, good. Okay.
Congratulations, Hannah.
Thank you so much. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, there isn't anybody for the Bassett
Well,
either, so whichever one you want to discuss first.
I have a question, because
Yep.
if Bassett is following the existing plan, they don't need to come to us. So
My question, though, was there's nothing on the existing approval that addresses a hanging sign.
okay, then they do. have-
So that's why, they feel, they'll definitely
Okay.
meet all the requirements. It was just whether or not, because they needed to put something projecting out from the front of the building, whether we could just say that it's part of the standard package, or whether we need to kind of make amends to that, or how to deal with it.
Well, I think they need approval, which I'm quite willing to give, because the
Yep.
sign is blue and the sign plan called for all black backgrounds on the signs.
But like I said, they're willing to do the black and, the standard colors and everything. There was just nothing in the approved sign package that ever allowed this kind of a situation where the sign actually was mounted on the front of the building, kind of as a projecting sign. That was more the issue than the color. They're going to match the existing standard colors.
So they're not gonna use their blue color that is their Bassett blue.
They said they're more than willing just to keep it with the standard colors. It's just the fact that the approval package, I couldn't see anything that addressed the allowance of hanging a sign off the front of the building. I mean, if the sign package showed like a building directional sign and things like that, and the sizes definitely are well within what they're proposing, is well within any of the signage that is allowed. It's just not, there was never anything that talked about, other than hanging over the entrances around the back. There was never anything about hanging a sign on the front of the building, like what they're proposing. So that was more what the issue is.
Then we would have to approve the hanging signs if they're not in the original plan, but they do have to follow the color of the building signage plan.
Right. And they have no problems with that. This was something they had put together just to come to me. And then when I talked about the fact that the existing building has an approved site plan package, they said they would be willing to meet all the colors and size restrictions. It's just that there was no allowing for the situation of hanging something from the front of the building, because they keep being told that half the people that drive by miss the fact that Bassett is down around the back.
The signage, do we have a picture of the front of the building? This is not going to increase it more than 40 square feet on the front of the building, is it?
I don't know, hold on, I have some pictures, let me just,
Because, you know, I mean, I'm all for having a sign on the front of the building if there's an allowance space for it, but we have a restriction of 40 square feet on the front of buildings. And, you know, that if they're going over 40 square feet because of the other signs on the front of the building, then that's a problem. But maybe that's not, you know, that's what like, you know.
Richard, when when you're referring, I'm sorry to interrupt, but to the front of the building, what are you considering the front of the building?
Toward
Railroad?
on Railway Avenue, that's the front of the building.
I don't think there's any sign on that.
Well, you have the meat store and you have,
there's several signs out
Oh,
front.
I-
And I
Sorry.
don't think we've ever really looked at
Bassett.
that because on the package, there was never anything that addressed the fact that there might be multiple signs out front. Because if, hold on 1 minute, if I call that up.
None of the views that were, well, wait a minute, that's not true. The 21 Railroad well, that's not the front of the building.
Right, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I mean, here is
There it is.
what
so you got,
was allowed in the original sign proposal for the front of the building. And Green Cow is here, and it's the all at Seago stuff here. I have a current picture. I just have to get it someplace where I can call it up on the screen.
oh, oh, 12 by 20 inches. 16.
There was supposed to be a directional pole in the original signage.
Yes, there is. There's one on, can everybody see my screen now?
Over
Yeah.
Yes,
There's a sign over here on the left-hand side of the building.
But, and where does Bassett want it to be?
Bassett wants to put a hanging sign right around in here at the entrance
not a
or
project.
at the driveway entrance going down on the right-hand side of the building.
Right,
Because
right.
currently they have a photo, from the package, if you remember seeing, there's one that basically is on the side of the building right now.
Right.
So they want to put a projecting sign. You're saying.
No, it's not. Is
Yes.
It, oh, no, yes, it is projected.
Yes, it is. It's a small projecting sign that is within our size situation. It's just not, projecting signs aren't part of this sign package or that was approved back in 2003.
Because if you have a freestanding sign, you can't have a projecting sign.
No, you can have a projecting sign at any doorway or at any entrance.
That's not their entrance.
I know, and that's,
So we got to waiver it or something because it's, you know.
Well, where is the freestanding sign?
On the left-hand side of the building, where all
hold
the,
on.
You can't see it.
And you can't really, I mean, it's just the small kind of, let me call up that one instead. You gotta,
And is this, I'm sorry, I'm digressing, but it looks like there's some signage to the left of the green cow that doesn't seem. I don't remember that signage.
no, that's like a temporary thing that they just put out recently. I just saw it this weekend when I was taking some photos.
I like the
So-
cow.
The thing underneath the cow itself?
Yeah. I don't think it's temporary. I think it's,
Can you see the new photo that I just put up?
no, we're still
Okay,
looking
hold
at the
on.
old one.
I have to keep picking different photos. So that's
There we
the
go.
freestanding sign that they have.
Oh, I see, I see.
And it's just the small kind of, 6x18 or what, it's 6x2 foot kind of situation. And it's at the other entrance, the other driveway entrance.
Now, that's not over any place anyone would walk, right?
No, that's just on the, there's a lawn area there.
Jane,
Yes,
under 227-3, whatever, 3 projecting signs.
yeah,
1 projecting sign is permitted for each functional entrance to a first floor business or any business located below the first floor on tax parcels not having a freestanding sign.
ah. I've never come across that because all the projecting signs I've ever done have always been downtown. So, well, like I said, this is just something they keep being told that, they can't, they're losing people because everybody's missing it. So it's, they have the existing sign, which shows up as,
Theirs is not on the freestanding sign. Is Bassett on the freestanding?
no, they are not.
Why not?
I don't know. Well, I mean, that's what they have right now.
Yeah, but that's the back of the building. the
No,
side.
that's the front of the building. That's
Side.
the side of the building. The front's right here.
Yeah, okay, but that's the type, but you showed another picture that was the,
Right. So basically what they want to do is just take this and mount it off of a bracket here instead, so that you can see it as you're driving down the street from either way.
then why not just replace that 21 Railroad Avenue sign with a Bassett sign? Why, that would,
You mean this thing?
yeah,
It doesn't solve the problem at all, though.
that would take care of it, everything.
Well, it wouldn't take care of the people coming from the opposite direction, coming from Main
Right.
Street.
I mean, they already have the one,
Well, what's on the other end of the building, maybe tell something.
So there's the spine center, then there's the orthotic and prosthetic care. They're 2 different things.
Right. But they basically only wanted to say the healthcare
Right.
network.
Right, I'm just saying that
Right.
there's.
So
there's
they're
the-
located in the back of the building, tucked into a corner. So
So the
They're actually
orthotics, there's no
located-
entrance to the.
they're located right down in here.
Right,
Is
no, I
where
get that.
those,
I'm just questioning, so there are 2 separate clinics in this building.
this is the only one they're asking for signage right now.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
in response to. Right, I mean, one is the spine center, one is the orthotics and prosthetics.
Did the prosthetics reopen? I know it was closed for a while.
Well, the sign was there.
Yeah, but when you tried to go in, you couldn't.
Well, that may have been because of COVID, I don't know, but
No, it was before COVID.
yeah. Well, the sign's still on the front of the building.
Yeah, you have that 21 is at both ends of the building. It's on the north end and the south end. If you want to look at those both pictures, see it?
You mean that one right there you're talking about?
Yeah. That's coming from Main Street, right?
So that one theoretically is 3x8 if it's there. I don't know if it's there or not.
Again, maybe the landlord wants that, because that advertises, but,
Right. I mean, that's the main building thing. So,
yeah, but yes, it's the main tenant.
Right, but they're not the owner of the building.
right, they don't, right.
Well,
The
again,
owner of the
like
building
that,
gets their signage.
I think 21 Rare is the name of his building, that's the street address, of course, but
right, the name,
it'd be up to Mike Mano to say, it's his.
So to approve the sign, would it require a variance? Is that what you're? To approve what they're asking for?
Projecting sign is not authorized in the law when you got a freestanding sign, period.
I understand that, Richard. I'm just trying to say, would it then require a variance?
Variance is not my area of expertise. That's-
Except that technically is not a freestanding sign, it's a directory sign.
Yes.
Is more what that is. It's not a, I wouldn't call it a freestanding sign if as a, main freestand, it doesn't meet the requirements of what our typical freestanding sign requirements are. This is, it's described as a directory sign on the
The plan?
plan.
Yeah, the lamppost sign is,
It's more like those sandwich board type things downtown. Except it's for a one building suite.
Who manages or oversees that hanging, the sign that's on the lamppost there? The
presumably the
directory
building
sign?
owner.
Could that sign be changed to include the spine center?
I think it's more the turn here kind of thing, maybe. I don't know.
It's kind of what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But don't you have to turn there anyway to go
No,
down
that's-
into the back?
It's
Aren't they
actually,
one-way?
you can enter either way and
But the
Oh, you
entrance is
can't.
on this side of the building.
Yes, okay, yes. I was always under the impression when I went down there that you went in one way and out the other. I didn't realize that the other side was a two-way street.
God, that's just because it makes sense.
A building directory sign, I know it's described that, is a type of wall sign.
It's,
If you look at 227-3 schedule allowed signs, A, signs allowed. Number 2 are wall signs. 2E is building directory sign. It's under ABC, the different lists of types of wall signs. So a building directory sign is a wall sign. It's not a freestanding sign.
are there under freestanding, I don't have the law in front of me, are there under freestanding, are there also directory signs? Because we have them all over downtown Cooperstown.
Those, yeah, they're placard signs.
But they're still directories.
well, Richard, in the in table 1 of the whole code, it talks about building directory and you can have, and then in parentheses, it says freestanding, projected, or wall.
Under
So
definitions.
table 1, it's C 227-3C, table 1.
227.
C 227C, table 1. Signs allowed with permit. I mean, I'm just saying, when they talk about sign type, they say building directory sign, and then in parentheses, they describe it as freestanding, projected, or wall.
You know, go
So-
from 227 to a C. You got to give me a number after the C, a dash.
Oh, 227-3, didn't I say 3?
No, you
Did.
didn't. That's hard to, so that's why I couldn't find it. 227-3 C,
C. Table 1.
table 1.
That's what I'm looking at online.
There's no tables in it. 227-3 C is the rear facade. Oh, no,
Okay.
A. Oh, okay, sorry. A, okay, B. Got it. C, tables, okay, got it. So, okay, in the zone, the signs allowed with permit.
Yeah.
Okay, now where am I to look down?
Well, I'm just saying, when they list sign types and they talk about the building directory, they describe it as either being a freestanding, projected, or wall sign.
Right.
So I'm just saying it isn't just wall sign as far as I would interpret.
Correct.
Okay,
You're right.
you got it.
They can be either projecting wall or,
But if this
standing.
is.
So like I said, that I was looking at this whole thing as being more of
I think,
the building directional sign kind of thing. So it would basically be something like this where it just said Bassett Healthcare Network entrance with the arrow pointing down. And it was just going to be mounted on a bracket as opposed to mounted on the wall.
right,
So, because that's basically what this kind of thing is. And like I said, they just wanted to take that and hang it off there so you could see it coming both ways down the road. But
now, why not we just amend the building signage plan to include this? Because it seems like that's an exception to all the other stuff, isn't it?
Mhm.
In other words, if the building plan, if without a building plan, you have to have everything, the total building, under the B 227-4B, total building plan.
there is a building directional wall sign that are allowed.
But it does, the building signage plan doesn't talk about any restrictions that you must be restricted to the number of signs and types of signs that are when you don't have a building plan. See what I mean?
No,
Just.
right, it's more, can you just add a hanging sign?
Add this sign
That's
to their building plan and then
Right.
we're done.
well, there's a tenant hanging sign. It doesn't have any indication of where it goes, is in the building plan. There is a building directional wall sign. Doesn't say whether it's projecting or any of that. I don't know what the difference is between
Are you
a hanging sign and a tenant directional sign over door. Building directional directory, number 14 directional directory sign. I don't know. I mean, I just,
Oh, I see that, but just add another sign to that plan and include it, amend their plan.
Have a separate application.
but do we then need to, does the building owner need to be the one to submit that or?
Oh, yes, probably. Well, see, okay, if a sign is not part of the previous approved total building signage plan, the applicant for the sign permit shall comply with the procedure described in subsection C below. Permit procedure, and then there's a permit procedure. Which is what they're doing, right?
Yes.
Right, so following the
So,
permit procedure.
okay, it's gotta be conformity with 227-1. Oh, no, legislative compliance with other road. Is this in compliance with other relevant provisions of this chapter? What's 227-1?
227.1 is just
No,
the generic stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Chapter 300 zoning village. Other relevant provisions of this chapter. That's too vague. You know, let's not, I feel somewhat guilty about creating so much chaos, but I think, let's be nice to, well, let's see how this can be done and do it,
I would think we should be able to approve it, but
I think the key thing is, there's that's a building with a lot of tenants in it and a lot of offices and, it's important to have that building there on Railroad Avenue where we're, we want businesses to be.
All that is.
But who's gonna raise this? I don't think we're gonna get sued by anybody.
Are there other offices down there, or are there ways in which the offices in the back can be subdivided so that we might get additional requests for something like this in the future? And then it would be a matter of, not just one sign, but several.
As far as I know, Bassett has that whole lower level.
Right, exactly.
Because all the other offices are
Now
off either floor 1 or floor 2 above.
Now is when it's the only time we're.
Right. If the owner were to subdivide the space and rent it to multiple tenants, he would then have to come to us to amend the sign plan.
Yeah.
But this is a tenant who's requesting a sign, not the building owner. So I don't know if we're at that point yet, but I would make a motion to approve the sign as a tenant hanging sign that would be directional. So it's combining signs, 11 and 12. Well, not 11 and 12, 11.
We're assuming that Bassett has the landlord's approval? Or do we?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
If the landlord signed the application.
Okay.
Yeah, this originally was going to come in a couple of years ago and it's been on the burner forever. So now it's just back again. But yes, it had Mike Mano's approval back then. So, and nothing's changed on it from what came in. So
I'll second the motion.
Who made the motion?
Ellen,
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
And
Of course, though, it has to be the black.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It looks like we lost John. Did we lose John? Are you still there, John?
I'm here, yes.
I
Okay,
lost
yeah.
you in my Zoom screen. Okay, you're back.
Okay. Who seconded?
Richard.
Richard,
Richard.
okay.
And could you just read that back?
I don't really I just have approve as submitted. That's all I have.
I believe what I said was I make a motion that we approve the sign as it's a combination of the tenant hanging sign and the building directional sign as a protecting sign.
And I would just recommend adding to your motion that it's conditioned on it being color approved in the building.
And 8 feet above grade too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But can I ask, that's what I was confused about. I'm sorry to be a pain, but what?
Sorry to
I
confuse.
keep bringing up the wrong thing here, but that is not over either a side, it's over a tree, right? Does that still have to be 8 feet if no one?
It's over the sidewalk, the front of the building.
Yeah, no, it's over. Yes, I would say yes, because there is a plant.
It's over this. Jane, can you throw that back up? Because I can't seem to get mine.
There's a plant underneath it. There's a shrub.
Plant.
Right. There is no way to walk underneath it, but
That's what.
hold on just a second.
So it doesn't need to be 8 feet, I guess, but.
That's my, I not to contradict, I'm just looking at there.
Yes, because actually it's probably going to move more towards the actual corner.
But that is not where anybody can walk, right?
Right. So I don't think we should amend the motion on that score.
I would just not add that because look what we've just done with the other. Mohegan.
Yeah.
We've said if there's something underneath it, it's okay to be 6 feet. And there's definitely something underneath it, and that ain't going anywhere.
Yeah,
My suggestion.
I agree.
Sorry,
And just
Jean,
the
what was the other?
stipulation with the color to match the existing sign package regulations.
Yes,
I think that's in the application.
Yeah,
Standard color or something, whatever they call it.
Right.
it's right there on the photo, signed to be in standard approved font and colors.
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
all right, so then we don't have to add that.
Yeah.
This,
Are you adding something about the height or you're not adding?
No, we are not.
Oh,
The motion stands as passed.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Okay,
they're gonna get people walking into the meat store for that sign. I bet saying, where's the spine center?
Well, then maybe the meat store gets a new customer.
I think that's why they wanted the arrow still on it, so that people kind of understood that you had to go down the driveway to get to it.
Yeah,
okay,
I think if it were up higher, it'd be clear. Well, let them, or whatever.
okay, let's move on.
Move on.
Okay, so I'm going to be presenting for the 20 Glen subdivision. I'm going to pull it up on the screen now. So basically, it's an existing larger lot that's located in the commercial district. There's a two-family house right here. There's a carriage barn that's been converted into a single-family house like 6-7 years ago.
right.
And this whole area in here is parking right now. What she's hoping to do is create a dividing property line roughly in this location so that she can subdivide, retain this house as her personal house, and then sell off this house eventually. So as far as requirements for the commercial district, the only kind of weird situation, and I'll let you guys kind of decide on whether or not it's an issue or not, is technically both single family and two family houses are only special permitted uses. They are permitted, I mean, they're permitted, but they're permitted by special permit as opposed to just permitted uses. So I'm not sure when you subdivide something that has two existing properties on it, whether it technically needs to go for special use permits also or not, or because they're existing, whether it just becomes what it is. So, but as far as, size requirements for commercial district, there is no limit. There's a 3,000 minimum square footage for a lot. So both of them are well above the required footage, signage for that or size for that. As far as talking to Janice Eichler, she's told me, and I'll verify it, that there already is existing sewer and water running to this property that isn't tied to the house. So that shouldn't be an issue either.
That was the only question I had on this.
So, like I said, I told her I would just get this far with her. She's going to be contacting a surveyor to draw this whole thing up as long as it meets the requirements of the pre-application and meets the goals of the planning board. I can tell them to start proceeding so that by next month you actually have a subdivision plat that you can look at.
Mhm. I presume that these would remain existing non-conforming. Or no?
I mean, technically, if you looked at it, with it being 3 residences, it's technically a multifamily. Multifamily is a standard permitted use. So right now, as long as you're not looking at it as 3 units have to be in the same building, it is a family residence. So I guess
it's not a new building, is it? I mean,
no, both of them are, like I said, this was the carriage barn for
right. So
this house. And they're not changing anything. It's an existing two-family house here. And it's, like I said, this was converted from the carriage barn into a residence before I moved here. So that's or right around 2015, if not
Right,
before.
but the buildings predate the whole zoning code is all I'm saying is.
Correct.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even call it like they wouldn't have had to change their usage, or like get a permit for being multifamily or two-family. I don't know.
Correct. It's,
I don't know. I mean, I would be interested to hear what an attorney would say, Jean.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd like you to get Martin Chilipaw's opinion,
okay.
because I could give my opinion, but Martin's opinion is worth a lot more in terms of
Okay.
planning board can rely on.
I'll try to track him down tomorrow and try to get it resolved right away.
Stagecoach, 9 o'clock.
And if a special use permit is required, does that go to the trustees?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
mhm.
So if
But it's one of those things where it's going to fall kind of into the same situation as all the other properties that technically exist because they're special permitted uses, but never actually received the actual permit, like the Otisaga or the Cooper Inn or those kinds of things.
But I think, isn't that existing non-conforming?
But they technically are, I mean, they're permitted uses. It's not like it's not a non-conforming use. It's just not a use that physically has the actual permit in hand.
Right, but I mean, I think in an old village where you've plopped a zoning law on top of a 200-year-old village, do you then require all current property owners to go and apply for whatever permit that they're now supposedly supposed to have? I don't know that that's.
no,
Yeah,
But only
that's what I mean by non-conforming.
the question is, do they have to apply because they're going to
Subdivide, right,
sell part of it?
right.
Or this becomes existing. I'm pointing at a screen that no one.
Right, and that's where I'd like to hear, yeah, I think I'd like to hear what Martin has to say on that.
yeah.
Okay.
And my initial reaction is Martin says that a special use permit is required. I'd want to see that granted before we look at the subdivision.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'll try to track down Martin tomorrow and get this straightened out. Because like I said, she has lined up a surveyor, but they haven't started the process just because, like I said, the whole idea with the pre-application for a subdivision is so you don't go to the expense and time of having to generate something and the cost if it doesn't meet the intent for the village. So if you guys want to just decide a rule on that one way or the other, then I can follow up with Martin, find out what he says. If he feels that it is going to be a requirement for a special use permit, I'll let her know and she can start that process. If not, she can contact the surveyor and he can start his process so that maybe by the July meeting, he'll have the plat ready for you guys to look at.
Otherwise, I don't see any problems with this, frankly. As long as this permit issue is dealt with, it seems like pretty straightforward subdivision.
In the property to the north of the single family house. Is that
This
all,
thing here?
yeah, is that all one property?
Yeah,
No.
that's what was the old bat factory or something? Or
Yeah, and a couple of old boats and a few other.
right.
Crazy Tom's was up there, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but that was taken over by the Where It All Began bat, which abandoned it years ago. I mean, it's ugly.
Yeah.
All right.
So Willowbrook runs right through here.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so if you guys feel that it's okay to proceed, I'll follow up tomorrow and go from there.
Does that require a motion or just that we recommend that she proceed?
It doesn't require a motion because there's nothing to vote on.
Right,
Yeah.
it's just the pre-application situation,
Yeah.
so,
You know, at this point, there's really nothing to say until we know what's legal use on the property.
right. But if Martin seems to feel there isn't any issue, can I tell them to go ahead and plan on presenting next month?
That's fine.
Okay. I understand that if he says that there is an issue, that she needs to start that process, but like I said, just if he thinks there isn't an issue, I'd just like to know that it can move forward for July if possible.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
And as long as I've got everybody here online now, does anybody, I'm trying to get a poll as far as going back to meeting in person, starting next month.
Fine with me.
I would be for.
I vote for.
Yep.
Jim LaCava was in favor as well. I saw him yesterday or the day before. We were talking about it.
Okay,
That's not an official vote from him, but we
that's
did have a
fine.
conversation.
He's
Right.
outnumbered if he votes against it anyway.
And John, are you for it? You're
Yeah.
muted.
You did, John.
John?
There you
Yeah,
go.
I'm fine with it either way. I like Zoom, but I'll show up at the library if
You
it,
probably live closest.
right. That doesn't mean that it's any easier, right? No,
Right.
it's fine.
Exactly.
Okay. And just to let you know, the village has offered my position to another person that probably will be starting the end of this month, beginning of next month. So I'll probably kind of walk them through a meeting with everybody, for July. But after that, hopefully he'll take the reins on. His name is Jackson Du Bois.
Oh, Jackson. Yeah.
Yep.
Who?
I'll drink of water.
Yes.
Jackson, he currently works for Red Point.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like 6'9" or something crazy.
No,
That's it,
know.
exactly.
Yeah.
He was gonna do our kitchen and I guess sort of plumbing.
Mm.
And he worked for Red Point and
He's a timber framer.
he really knows this. But can we not accept Jane's resignation?
Yeah.
I second.
Yeah, right.
It's been wonderful working with you, Jane.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're amazing, Jane. You really are.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to teach all my little tricks to Jackson so that he can just continue on.
Right.
Ah,
Okay. Let's move on to the minutes.
Oh, yeah, minutes. I almost forgot.
Anybody have any comments or corrections?
No.
I do. On the last page, under next steps, tree waiver,
Which waiver?
tree, TREE, tree waiver.
I'm scrolling down to. There are a lot of pages in last.
Oh, I think it was in relation to whether or not the planning board had regulations over trees on site plans.
Yeah, and although it's not in my copy of the statute, it's on the online version, and there's renumbering section. So the minutes are correct. They do reflect what was said.
Oh, okay.
So they don't need a correction. I just want to mention to the minutes for today's meeting, that section 345B3 allows the planning board a waiver of modification with or without conditions of the tree removal section. And it refers to the section that exists on the supplemental environmental provisions of the zoning law rather than the section in the tree law, which are nearly identical.
So where did you see that, Gene, just so I can write it down? Three-
300-45
Yep,
B3.
okay.
And that's the version that's online.
Yep, that's what I'm looking at right now. So that references restrictions set forth in 331C.
Yes. And if you look at 331C, that's nearly identical to the tree law section, providing for.
Right, that's the actual law that goes before the zoning board. It's not, that section is the one that I quote, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. But since I gather they're applying for a variance from the ZBA, let it stay there instead of getting things confused.
Well, it was, the only reason why we were saying that is because we didn't really, we weren't sure whether or not you had the right to do it as part of the site plan review.
Well, it's up to the ZBA. If they want to take it up, fine. If they want to,
Okay, I'll let them know
that's
one way or
okay.
the other and let them make the decision.
okay.
What you're saying is you found the law that says that the planning board has the right to make that determination?
Yes,
Okay, that's a simple way of saying it. Gee.
that's a simple way of saying it.
That says-
And I'll just add one thing. I've been preparing a redraft for presentation to the planning board for review for next month's meeting. A revision of the provisions dealing with preliminary and final site plan review, clarifying what's required in the application and specifying a number of items that must be included in the site plan so there'd be no ambiguity. And
Is before the Chestnut Street application.
well, the Chestnut Street application is going to be looked at way before this law would take effect.
Oh, I know that.
And it wouldn't be fair to expect them to adhere to something that's not in existence at the time they applied. But I'll get that out hopefully within a week, so we have plenty of time to look at it on our own. Please hold all your comments to the next planning board meeting, so we don't have emails going back and forth. It could present a problem with the open meetings law. And does anybody have anything else they'd like to raise before we adjourn?
Did you vote on the minutes?
No, we didn't. Good point.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, that carries. Thank you very much, Michael.
oh, you're welcome.
Okay, I move to adjourn at 5:29 p.m.
Seconded.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone.
So wait, are we meeting in person then next month? Is that what we're doing? Jane?
We voted to approve that. It's up to Jane how you want to schedule it.
That was the consensus.
Well, at this point, I'm not sure whether the governor is going to do the extension. I know, right, it currently runs through July 5th. And now that they've decided that they're 100% open because they met their 70% vaccinated threshold, they might get rid of the option anyway, or go back to the standard option. So yes, as long as everybody's willing, I think, the village would much prefer you guys to do it in person.
That's what
Especially with 10 Chestnut coming up, it's going to be easier to deal with public that way.
Yeah, I'd much rather have live input than trying to get people to send in emails in advance.
Correct.
Okay, so let's meet in person.
All right.
Great.
Thank you all. I'll see you next month.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Be well.
You too.